Alright guys, welcome back to an episode of the Patreon Sim Dynasty. We are in week 15, we just got done with week 14. I'm pretty sure we won, let's see how everybody did. Charlotte ends up losing to Old Dominion 21-14, put up a good fight in the second half, just unable to score enough to get the win. Scored right there at the end of the third quarter and then almost at the end of the fourth, just never able to get another one in the last 2 minutes. Looking at the stats, 27 first downs, 376 yards of offense, 46 attempts for 203 yards. 19 for 41 for 167, 13 for 21 on third down, 1 for 2 on fourth down. This right here, this is a stat that kills you. The 2 for 4 in the red zone, that's missed opportunities. It's at least 14 points, which would have got you the win, or 6 points would have made you lose by 1. But you gotta have points in the red zone. 3 turnovers with 2 interceptions and a fumble. Just couldn't quite pull it out. Rice ends up losing for the third time all season, this time to Western Kentucky. They just allowed a lot of points in the second quarter. My goodness, allowed 17 points. Wait, 17 points in the second to go down at the half by 3. And then they were able to fully recover, scoring last 2 minutes of the third and fourth quarters. Looking at the stats, Western Kentucky just dominated this game, man. 21 first downs for Rice, 347 yards of total offense, 48 rushes for 183 and 3 touchdowns, 14 for 24 for 164 and a touchdown, 6 for 14 on third down. Hurts, especially whenever Western Kentucky was 5 for 8, only missing out on 3 opportunities. But Rice was 100% on fourth down and 100% in the red zone and could not take advantage of the turnovers. They forced the ball into their hands. They just couldn't do anything with it. And Western Kentucky comes out on top. In the user versus user matchup of ECU and UConn, ECU wins yet another one to end the season on a high note, winning in the last couple of games. They were out on top early 17-0 before UConn ended up scoring before the half. Then they just continued to pile it on. UConn made a comeback in the fourth, just not enough time to get the victory. Looking at the stats, it seemed like a pretty even game. ECU had a lot more yards, 480 total offense compared to 391 for UConn. ECU were not able to run the ball very well. UConn not much better, but still better. Whereas ECU threw the ball extremely well, even though 20 incomplete passes, 393 yards on 25 completions, and 3 touchdowns. That's pretty good. Both did okay on third down, 11 for 17. I mean, that's over 50%. That's a huge plus. 4 for 13 for UConn. Probably cashed you this game, plus not being able to score that last time in the red zone. Both had the same amount of turnovers. Both had almost the same amount of total yards and time of possession, just not able to capitalize in the red zone for UConn. Looks like it cost them this game. Utah State ends up knocking off the Cowboys in the rivalry game. They were up early, 10-7, and then just continued to pile it on into the second and third quarters before Wyoming was able to fight back. Just not enough time to put up more points and get the win. Taking a look at the stats, 14 first downs, 347 yards total offense, 35 attempts for 94 yards, 15 for 34 for 253, 5 for 14 on third down. It's horrible. 1 for 4 on fourth down is way worse, but not as bad as a 1 for 4 in the red zone with 2 turnovers. Missed opportunities all across the board. Just not able to capitalize and not able to stay in this game. We end up putting up a ton of points in the fourth quarter to knock off Buffalo and hopefully secure ourselves for the conference championship. I'm not sure how it works. We need to see if Ohio won or not, because they have the advantage over us if we have the same record. And hopefully we get the win. But it was a close game. I mean, it was 10-7 at the half, and then they started scoring to go up 17-10, and then bam, bam, or 20-10, and we just exploded in the fourth quarter. Touchdown, 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 touchdown. Even one with the last 49 seconds. Man, we scored twice right there. Heck yeah, got a turnover. Looking at the stats, 21 first downs, 461 yards total offense, 21 attempts for 93 yards, 28 for 50 for 368 and 3 touchdowns, 4 for 13 on third down is horrible, as well as the 1 for 2 on fourth down. My goodness, man. But luckily in the red zone we were 100%. Even with the turnover, we still got the win. Very happy about how we played. Army ends up putting up a dominating performance over Hawaii, the 1-11, 0-8 in Conference Hawaii. Army needed a bounce back game, and they for sure got it. It was a relatively close 14-10, and then Army just put the boots on and kept on scoring and never looked back after that. Looking at the stats, 25 first downs, 335 yards of total offense, 50 attempts for 231 yards. Army ran the ball like crazy. 10 for 23 for 104, 13 for 16 on third down. Now that's a third down stat I could get behind. That's an amazing third down stat. 5 for 6 in the red zone, which is pretty good. I would assume that was a turnover, but they ended up putting up a good performance Taking a look at championship contenders overall, UCLA won, Tennessee, Oklahoma, Texas, Clemson, Houston, Florida State, Baylor, Stanford, and Ole Miss. That's 3 Big 12 teams in the top 10. Holy crap, Oklahoma, Texas, and Baylor. First user teams, Army at 45, Rice at 46, myself at 56, ECU at 73, Wyoming at 77, Charlotte at 106, and UConn at 111. Pretty much everybody has a bye week this week except for Army. Army-Navy game, of course, but we are looking to see who makes the conference championships, who doesn't, and if we have any bowl games coming up. So that's going to be it for this part. All right, just going to go with the advance, and I played Toledo for the conference championship week. I figured for sure it'd be Northern Illinois, but apparently not. I get the Rockets. So we ended up making it. Let's see if anybody else did real quick. No, and Rice did. Rice and Mid-Tennessee State, so us too. So somehow I pull it off, I guess, because I won more in conference, even though in my division, Ohio beat me. So I don't know how that worked out, but it is what it is. I'll take it. The other side, Western Michigan 10-2, but they lost twice in conference. Northern Illinois lost twice in conference. So we could pull out the upset over Toledo. Mountain West, Wyoming, close, but not close enough. 5-3 in conference. Ends up Colorado State versus San Diego State. In the American, number 11 ranked Temple. Not much of a surprise there. They're ranked. ECU and Connecticut fought hard, just not quite able to get there. The other side, Houston, of course, was number 6 ranked and only 1 loss in the nation. Conference USA, Charlotte fought pretty good, 4-8 on the season, not too bad. Joined a little late, so he wasn't able to make all of his adjustments. Mid-Tennessee State takes the cake. And on the other side, Rice, of course, being 9-3. So taking a look at the game, the only game we had last week, Army ends up losing in overtime to Navy. Navy went for 2, it looks like, and didn't get it, and Army was not able to retaliate. Navy fought back, 14 in the second, 10 in the fourth, and then were just able to secure the win in overtime. Checking out the team stats, Army did all right. They got destroyed. Total offense-wise, 316 total. 63 attempts for 258 and 2 touchdowns. 6 for 11 for 58 yards and touchdowns. 6 for 17 on third downs, not good. 100% of the red zone scored every time, just not able to capitalize on the 3 turnovers. And not able to get the win. We have Toledo this week. Kirk's picking them. No surprise there. They have a really good rush offense. Not so much pass, so we might actually swap ours to where we're focusing more on the run. Our run defense is decent, but their run defense is a lot better, which is great because we like to throw the ball, so hopefully we can come out and get a win today. And since I'm fairly positive I didn't get a show this last time, looking at the recruiting, we are not able to do anything, so that's why we're able to get through this process a lot faster. I want the tackle. That's probably how I'm going to put all my points on, or the majority of them. So the tackle, maybe the wide receiver. The outside linebacker would be nice to get, even though nobody's really going after him, and then this athlete, but I assume Rice is going to lower the boom on him and try to get him. Because he's decent, he'd make a good receiver. He's not fast, or quarterback, probably. He's just not anything special, but we'd take him. But I don't know. I'm pretty good, pretty happy with my team so far. 80s, like defensive line looking good, offense looking good. We definitely improved our team overall. And it's gonna translate into instant wins next year, hopefully. But we're ready to advance it into bowl week. I'm anxious to see who all got bowl games. I did kind of peek at the bowl projections. I just don't want to give that away yet because you'll see it here in just a second. All right, let's get done with the advance, and we play Army in our bowl game. Looking forward to that. Let's see how we did during the week, though. Did we win? Did we win? Did we win? We'll have to wait. Rice ends up losing to Mid-Tennessee State 28-25. They scored 11 in the fourth, but not enough to get the win. That's kind of a surprise. Rice has been tearing it up. He's on a couple of game loser streak. I think that's, 2 games in a row? That's not good for him, man. He was down 17-7, and then fought back, and then nothing in the third, and then tried to score a couple more times, but a little too late. Looking at the team stats, it was a really even game. 425 yards on the ground, 26 first downs, 43 attempts for 188, 18 for 31, 2 touchdowns, 237. They played a really even game, man. Mid-Tennessee State had a little bit more running yards. That's about it. Did better on third down, 7 for 13, 1 for 1, 100% in the red zone. 2 turnovers. Probably kills your series right there, man. Held them to only 2 touchdowns in the red zone, his defense did, so it could have been a more lopsided game, but interceptions cost them turnovers for sure. And we end up putting the boots to Toledo. My goodness, 41-3. They didn't score till 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and it was a field goal. Holy crap. Oh, Napke over there went off, man. Was that 4 touchdown passes? Dope. Looking at the stats, 575 yards of offense, 38 rushes for 177 compared to their 35 for 113. 27 for 39, 4 touchdowns, 397 yards. My goodness. 8 for 12 on third down, 100% on fourth down. 6 for 7 in the red zone. That's fine though. We scored 6 times in the red zone and 1 fumble, so I'm gonna assume that's the only other time. But my gosh, dude, we destroyed Toledo in our first conference championship. So taking a look at all the games, we play Army. We have Wyoming and Louisville. Myself and Army. UConn, Charlotte, and ECU did not make it, and then Rice Air Force. So Wyoming and Louisville in the New Mexico Bowl, myself and Army in the Military Bowl, and then Rice and Air Force in the Armed Forces Bowl. So taking a look at the top 25, the one that really matters, Tennessee ends up losing to Ole Miss, drops to number 7. That means UCLA and Texas in the national championship game. Oklahoma outside looking in, even though they didn't lose in conference. They won the Big 12 and not playing for the national title. That's crazy, dude. Holy crap. Then Ole Miss number 4, Clemson, Florida State, Tennessee, Temple, Stanford, Ohio State. But we have Army this week. Looking at it, Kirk's picking me to win it. We're 9-4, 7-3 in conference. He's 7-5 overall. We got him beaten every category except for running game, which we are almost last. And he's sitting number 7 in the nation. So we definitely going to keep it how we did against Toledo. And hopefully that'll shut down this running game. We have the number 1 pass offense in the nation. So we can keep that rolling into our bowl game victory. I'm hoping, man. This is my first conference championship in all the Sim series. So with Obi, I haven't won a conference championship. I haven't even played for one yet. My first year with Bowling Green, we make it and win it and get a bowl game. That's what I'm talking about. But we're going to advance it, see where all the games ended up, and then check the end of the season stats, and that'll be the end of this episode. A little bit shorter as far as parts. It's usually 5 parts, but we're going to showcase a lot more information. So we're going to advance it, and we'll be right back. All right, let's get done with the advance, and according to the sidebar, there's a lot of buzz surrounding Military Bowl. Let's see what happened. Wyoming ends up losing to Louisville 24-13, not able to bounce back from a big second quarter. Put up a good fight against an ACC team, a solid ACC team, and made a bowl game, so can't argue about that. Didn't put up a good enough fight, though. Less than 200 yards of offense compared to their 400. Holy crap, dude. 43 attempts for 161, 6 for 19. Through the air for 28 yards, 6 completed passes for 28. Ouch. 2 for 14 on third downs, not good at all. 100% in the red zone though, 2 turnovers, just a solid showing by Louisville. We ended up getting downed to Army in the Military Bowl. I think maybe some hijinks were involved. I don't know. We were supposed to shut down the run. Apparently we didn't do it. I can't stop a triple option team regardless if I'm playing or simming. Looking at the stats, we had 358 yards of offense. He had 355, 56 attempts for 243 yards and 3 touchdowns. Threw the ball pretty good, 11 for 21 for 112 yards. We were 20 for 68 running, 27 for 40, 3 touchdowns, 290 yards. That right there, this stat line killed us. 2 for 10 on third down, 100% ruined us in this game. We held him pretty good defensively. He only scored 3 out of the 6 times he's in the red zone, but 2 turnovers and going 2 for 10 on third down. Horrible stat line for us, and we deserve to get beat. Congratulations, Army, on a solid bowl victory. Rice ends up bouncing back, taking out Air Force in the bowl game, 35-21. A pretty good game. He was up 14-7, and they scored another. He was up 28-14 at the half, dude. Golly. And looking at the stats, he had a pretty decent game. 291 yards, 29 attempts for 117, 15 for 27, 4 touchdowns, 174 yards. That's a stat line you don't see from Rice, or you haven't seen this season. Dude's been running like crazy, not throwing the ball. He's pretty much every 1 in 3 passes was a touchdown, or 1 in 4 passes was a touchdown. That's insane. 2 for 9 on third down, a horrible stat line, but he got the win and forced turnovers, forced 3 fumbles, and got the win. Man, can't argue with the stats. So taking a look overall at the different winners and our stats and everything like that, Pumphrey from San Diego State ends up winning it with Armstrong finishing number 2, Hurd number 3, JT Barrett number 4, and Starks, their halfback from UCLA, at the number 5 slot. And speaking of the number 5 slot, Texas ends up knocking off UCLA 31-29. They won by 2 points. Holy crap. I want to see more stats, dude. 31-29, Texas. National champs, Oklahoma 2, Clemson 3, UCLA 4, Temple number 5. And while we're at it, we're going to check out the championship contenders. None of us finished in the top 25, sadly, but we got to be pretty close. Rice finishing the highest at number 36 off a solid season, even though we lost a couple of games in the year. Finished strong with a nice bowl win to end the only team with double-digit wins, 10-4 this year. Followed by Army at number 55, going 8-5 on the season. Myself at 61, going 9-5. ECU at 67, going 5-7. Wyoming 7-6, over 500, going at the number 91 slot. Charlotte 4-8 with the number 104. and UConn 4-8 with the number 108. So taking a look at the award winners, I'm just going to kind of flip through it real quick. Armstrong wins the Maxwell. Armstrong wins the Walter Camp. If I see any of us on there, I'll be sure to pull it out. Stanford showed up on there, but not good enough to win the Bednark. Street wins it, Nagurski from NC State. Armstrong wins the O'Brien. Pumphrey wins the Walker. No real surprise there. Moore, my receiver, dude went off. 109 catches for almost 1,800 yards and 16 touchdowns. Plus he had like 6 fumbles. Dude was a fumble machine this year. Lease, I'm going to say, is that Ice? Nate. I'm going to call you Nate. From UCLA wins the Mackey. Outland goes to Elflein. Elflein also wins the Remington. Street wins the Lombardi. Williams wins the best linebacker. Iowa Thorpe with the King. Groza goes to Dominique. Trent Dominique. Domining. There we go. And then the guy goes to Kaluzzi from Iowa. Oh, best returner. I forgot best returner. Barrows from Miami. I don't think any of us were close to the best returner. Taking a look at the All-Americans, we'll go first team, second team, and then freshman, and then we'll check first team per conference just to see who made it. My receiver, I'll take second string receiver, first team All-American. That looks good on my stat line. That's for dang sure. Any other users? No. Second team, no second team. Freshman? No freshman either. Let's check out the All-Americans. ECU up there for the first team. And then we've got ECU middle linebacker and corner. Conference USA, Rice shows up at the right end position. Derek Brown, the senior run stopper, makes it, as well as his middle linebacker Alex Lyons, who's a senior, and his corner. Wow, he's got a lot of seniors on his defensive end, middle linebacker, and corner. Ouch. Plus his punter is gone too. No, his punter's a sophomore. Never mind. Second team, his quarterback's up there with his running back. How does a running back not make it do as much as he ran the ball? Rice up there again, tight end position, center, right guard, right tackle, left end, defensive tackle, left outside linebacker, corner, free safety or strong safety. All independents. Walker, I think he was injured for a little bit of the season. Might have been the other backup. Army makes it Poe. Second team, that's the guy that was hurt, Asbury. He was hurt for a lot of the season, but he's only a sophomore, so he'll definitely improve. As well as Tim, middle linebacker. Xavier Moss, Strange, and Drake. All MAC. Napke, of course. Bowling Green makes it first team. And then we have Moore, my receiver, who was also first team all NCAA. My right tackle makes it up there. Defensive tackle, left outside linebacker, right outside linebacker. Just give me all my linebackers. Strong safety did pretty good. So I'm talking about second team for the guys that didn't make first team. Wide receiver, left tackle, center, free safety, and punter. All Mountain West. We should have some people. Wyoming, there you go. Left guard makes it, and his kicker. Second team, his halfback, his wide receiver. So overall, we had a pretty good season. I'm going to try to do my best to look at everybody's stats, but I can't really sort it by just users. We had 7,000 total yards, 5,600 with 42 in the air, man. Golly, 34 passing touchdowns, 13 rushing touchdowns. Rice with 69, almost to 7,055 with 27 and 27. A really balanced attack, dude. Golly, I think it was that balanced. Wyoming comes in at 62 with another balanced attack, 24, 29, 21, 37. Same thing with touchdowns, pretty even. ECU at the 58.05, a lot of passing yards and broke the 1,000 yards on the season running it. Army at 56.35 with a ton of running yards, 3,000 on the season. Charlotte with 53.40 with a balanced attack, a little bit more rush than pass, but it's pretty solid performance. And then Connecticut with, once again, pretty solid performance with about 5,000 yards total offense. Defense-wise, it's about all of us bunched up towards the bottom. We gave up quite a bit of yards. Connecticut with the best overall defense, not allowing the most at 45-22. Then Wyoming, Army, and then Charlotte. Bam, 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 all real close together. Able to keep everybody fairly balanced, not really one side or another dominating wise. Army with allowing the least amount of points so far and pretty good set amount of turnovers. And then I was right behind Charlotte. I gave up quite a bit of yards. I gave up the fewest points, 257. That's a pretty good stat line there with 37 sacks. I'm happy about that. And then to finish off, ECU and Rice. Rice giving up a lot of yards this year, 3,000 through the air. Oh my goodness, ECU almost 3,000. But they're able to force the turnovers, man. 28 there and 22 there. And then taking a look at the turnover difference, Rice wins it for the users with a 10 difference, 18 giveaways, and 28 takeaways, 14 and 14. My goodness. ECU right behind them with 8, 14 giveaways with 22. Army not too far back from that with 11 and 18. Wyoming about middle of the road, 17 giveaways, 18 takeaways. Connecticut with a -3 difference, 18 giveaways and 17 takeaways. 15, my bad. Myself at a -7, 20 giveaways with 11 fumbles. I know for sure 6 of them was one dude by himself. You know, only got 13 takeaways. Hopefully with some of the recruits I got this year, we'll be able to alleviate that. And then Charlotte, second to last, right there behind LSU with 26 and 9. We're going to try to run through the season stats for the guys real quick. I mean, there's about 8 of us, so it could take a little long. I'm not going to go super in depth. But for the ones that are interested, this is my backup. He was hurt for a little bit, or he would have had 3,000 yards. He could have easily had 4,000 by himself. 26 and 7 as a senior pocket passer. It was not bad. Morgan came in as a freshman and threw the ball really well while he was hurt. Running the ball, Coplett did pretty good as a senior. We didn't run the ball a whole lot. Same thing with Wilson. I tried to not let my running back or my quarterback run a whole lot. Let the running backs do the work. It seemed to work out pretty good. Receiving more, 100 catches for 1,700 yards. Redding not too far behind him with 68 for 1,000. So 2 receivers over 1,000 yards. I'm pretty happy about that. Army's quarterbacks passing the ball. Pretty good season for an Army team. I mean, less than 50% completion rating and had over 1,000 yards. I mean, that's not bad. 10 and 5 for a team that runs the ball a lot. Running it in Asbury, like I said, the dude got hurt. Still had over 1,000 yards. Walker almost 1,000 yards. That'd have been huge. 2 running backs with 1,000 yards each. Receiving the Poe brothers, bam, 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 bam. Both from Tucson, Arizona. Pretty good stat line for a team that runs the ball. Charlotte threw the ball pretty decent as well. 103 for 230, 1,215 touchdowns, 12 interceptions though. That's what hurts, the 12 interceptions. Both running backs had about the same amount of carries and about the same amount of yards. That's insane. 800, so close to 1,000. Maybe they'll get it this next year. Receiving, he distributed the ball around a lot. Tight end, wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver. Just mixed it up due to whoever was open. No real dominating player on his team receiving the ball. And that's a good stat to have. ECU threw the ball a ton. 437 attempts for 3,000 yards, 22 and 10. He rivaled my quarterback throwing the ball like crazy. Running it, Scott with 500 yards. And Scott, not brothers. 350. So about 1,000 yards rushing for this team. It's pretty good. Receiving, Jones almost a little over 80 receptions for over 1,000 yards. And then it was kind of a little bit more distributed after that, but Jones definitely playmaker. Rice threw the ball a lot more than I thought, man. 366 attempts for 2,600 yards, 25 and 12. With Dillard running the ball for 1,200 yards and his quarterback for 800, both seniors. So that's going to be a void he's had to fill. Hopefully he's got it done this year. Receiving, he distributed it around pretty good too. Not really super dominant. I mean, Sella, of course, the tight end, but not really super dominant other than that. And then Wyoming's quarterback, Allen, he was out for a good while as well, 1,700 yards. Smith comes in and gets 666. That away, dude. It's a nice stat line that you want to have in your career. Running the ball, Wick did really good. 300 attempts for 1,600 yards, averaging 5 yards a carry. That's not bad for a senior going out with 10 touchdowns. And then receiving the ball, he threw the ball quite a bit. And these two guys, Paul Blart, Malcop, whatever his name is, and Gentry, pretty dominating for these two guys. I'm fairly positive I'm just gonna get my bad, dude. It's hard to remember who's what team. But Charles did all right. 321 for 12 or 1,500 yards, 11 and 10. Not great there. He threw a lot more interceptions than you would like. Running the ball pretty good. Sheriff's running the ball a little bit. 118 attempts. Got over 1,000 yards as a team. Then receiving, Thomas for sure, go-to receiver, then distributed it around to these other 3 guys right behind him. But overall, we've had a great first season, man. We flew through this year, and I know they're excited to get into the next one. I want to thank all these guys, Pride the Leader, Kakapoopoo, Mr. Paratrooper, Iceman, Ice Chew, Land Shark, and Epic for being a part of this, man. It really means a lot, and I appreciate the support that you guys are providing for me, man. I hope this is enjoyable for you as it is for me. But that's going to be it for this episode. Hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see y'all next time.